You ready? Ooh. Might want to turn off your sound.
That doesn't work.
Okay. Ready, Liz?
Yes, Mayor.
Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2024 to the News Record and the Star Ledger in December of 2023, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Cripe.
Here.
Ms. Davis.
Here.
Mr. DeLuca.
Here.
Ms. Engel.
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Here, thank you.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the governing body has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting, and whereas desire of the governing body to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee, the Township of Maplewood does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the governing body by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the governing body at all of its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Cripe.
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Please stand for the salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could get everyone to remain standing, I'd like to do a moment of silence. We lost our bond attorney, the township's bond attorney, Edward McManaman. For the past 50+ years, he has practiced law in the firm that bore his name, McManaman in Scotland, and we're sorry to lose him. He was well respected and served our township very well. So. Thank you. So tonight, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 6th meeting of the Maplewood Township Committee. We have a couple of proclamations this evening, or actually one for Black History Month. That'll be read by Ms. Cripe. We have a couple of appointments to different boards and committee. Kayla Spinelli will be appointed to Recreation Advisory Committee. Seniors Advisory Committee will be David Riavi, sorry. Affordable Housing Board will be Leonard Robbins and Richard Greenberg, each for 3-year terms. Then we'll be having a public hearing on completely inclusive playground through Green Acres. We are applying for a grant for that is due tomorrow at 5 p.m. And one of the requirements is to have a hearing on the matter. We also had a public meeting last week, which was well attended, to get input from the community on the way it's designed and get a lot of input. It was a very good meeting, so we will proceed with that. And then we will have our public comment period for agenda items only. We will then have the Board of Health meeting chaired by Ms. Engel. Then we have one ordinance on final passage. And then we have another ordinance on introduction regarding the sewer fees. And that will be raising the fee based on the joint meeting. We have a fee raise for annual fee from $204 to $224, and then an additional amount to cover the capital investment into the infrastructure, and that will raise it to $301. Then we have report from administrative reports. Mr. Wary, Ms. Credidio, and Ms. Fritzen. Reports from elected officials will be Committee Member DeLuca, Deputy Mayor Cripe, Committee Member Daffis, Committee Member Engel, and then my report. Discussion items. We have Mr. DeLuca would like to discuss the proposed 15% fare increase by New Jersey Transit. We'll talk briefly about the movie theater redevelopment area and public meetings that we're planning for that. The next thing will be undertaking a natural resource inventory study in 2024 that will be in requesting a grant from Sustainable Jersey. And then the next budget workshop will be discussed to get a date on that finalized and notified to the public. Then we have the consent agenda. And then that's it. Then we'll have a second public comment period and we'll adjourn. So with that, Ms. Kripe, Deputy Mayor, would you like to read the proclamation for Fabulous Black History Month?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mayor. Whereas every February, Black History Month is recognized to not only encourage the study of African American life and history, but also to act as a reminder that Black history is an integral part of the history of the United States of America. What began as a week recognizing Black history championed by Dr. Carter G. Woodson and Minister Jesse E. Moreland in 1926, when they founded the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, evolved into a month by 1976, after official recognition by President Gerald Ford. Each year, the association presents a new theme, and the theme for 2024 is African Americans and the Arts. For African Americans, the arts have been a means to express joy and sorrow, assert humanity, or communicate in a way that reaffirms one another. Alvin Ailey, Coleman Domingo, Michaela Shai Rodriguez, Billie Holiday, and others made it clear that Black and LGBTQ+ people not only exist, but could do so openly. Women like Eartha Kitt, Maya Angelou, Queen Latifah, Audra McDonald, Viola Davis, and more not only exhibited Black women aren't a monolith, but there isn't a limit, standard, or any enclosed glass ceiling that could hold their talent back from the applause of the masses. As with every Black History Month, there's also a need to remember Black history is not only American history, but the contributions of Black Americans go beyond those who provide entertainment. For while Michael Jackson popularized the Super Bowl halftime show as a must-see event, James E. West's patents from 1962, utilized in 90% of all microphones today, allowed over 133 million people to hear that set list. Mark Dean, while working at IBM, developed the first gigahertz chip that laid the foundation for the technology required to hear, see, and experience entertainment on a computer or a phone. And Valerie Thomas, a NASA data analyst, advanced the 3D technology used in theaters across the nation and the world. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on behalf of the Maplewood Township Committee, we highlight these names in honor of Black History Month and ask the public to further educate themselves on those named and many others who have shaped our country and the world. Thank you, Mayor. History Month.
Thank you. We'll go to boards and committees. I have two separate agendas that are slightly different, so
So do I.
go with the,
Use the one that's you got tonight.
okay, good idea.
Couple versions.
So Recreation Advisory Committee. Deputy
Yes,
Mayor.
we have invited Kate Spinelli, who is a longtime Maplewood resident who left and came back and is now raising her family here. So I don't know if she is available, if we could move her from oh, there you are. Hey, you're in person. That's even better.
I
Come on
thought
up
you
to
were
the
looking
mic.
right at her, but Patrick was in
We
your
would
way.
love it if
Correct.
you would come up here in case the committee has a couple of questions for you. But if you want to give a brief introduction of who you are and why you'd like to serve.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Is it going?
Yes, it's on.
Hi, I'm Kayla Spinelli. I grew up in Maplewood. We moved here in 2000. I guess just a brief thing, a little bit about me and my family. I swam for the Maplewood Makos for a long time. I was a lifeguard at the pool for a very long time. I started the Maplewood Manta Rays diving team back in 2013. And that continued after I left. My mom actually continued to run it for another 2 years. My mom was part of the one of the committees. I can't remember which one, but she was part of the
Maplewood
Maplewood
Democratic.
Democrats.
Party.
Maplewood Democratic Committee.
Yes, Kathleen Spinelli. Some of you probably know her.
Yep.
My dad is part of the garden committee, so everybody's kind of part of everything. And then after in about 2017, I moved to Florida for 5 years to pursue diving, and I had my first son. And then moved to Tennessee, and then decided after we got married that we wanted to come home. So we are now back in Maplewood with my two little boys, with my dad and my husband, who is not from Maplewood. He's from Alabama, so it's definitely very different.
He'll get used to it.
Yes, but I'm sure some of you may know, I haven't left the pool. So I am actually the aquatics director at the Westfield Area YMCA. So I'm still in the pool and I never left the pool. So, and I don't really plan on it anytime soon. So, I feel like I've had I've probably attended beyond more events and recreation and the township events that have happened as a kid, as a teenager, as a young adult. I didn't leave Maplewood until I was 25. So, I still did a lot of things locally. I also did coach. My husband always says I never praise this enough. So I coached at Seton Hall University for 2 years as their springboard diving coach. I was awarded the Big East Diving Coach of the Year for the women's team of 2015. And I am also a Big East champion. We won the Big East the following year. So it's pretty cool. I've done a lot. I know this town inside and out. I feel like I see some familiar faces and some I think I know, but I haven't seen in a long time. My hair's brown now instead of blonde, so it's a little bit different. A lot of people don't recognize me, but I would love to be able to put my input back into the town and into the community that I know and I want my boys to be a part of too.
Cool.
Well, I don't need to say anything
I
after all
know,
that.
no. Anyone have any questions?
No. Welcome home.
Oh, thank you.
Go Makos.
Mayor, would you like to move?
Yeah, so I would move the placement of Kayla Spinelli onto the Recreation Advisory Committee for the next few years.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Roll call?
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you, and
Congratulations.
welcome
Thank you guys so
home.
much.
Thank you.
Say hi to your mom for me. Okay, for Senior Advisory Committee.
Yes, we do have a gentleman who would like to step into the role. Unfortunately, he's had an emergency in his family and cannot be here tonight. But David Riavi has been a 30-year resident here in Maplewood, who would like to, now that he's retired, give back to the community by assisting in any way he can in serving the seniors community he's now an active part of. So I would move that David Riavi be appointed to the Seniors Advisory Committee. Do
I'll second.
we have a roll call?
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Affordable Housing Board. Mr. DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. We have two reappointments, Leonard Robbins and Richard Greenberg, and I would move both of them.
I'll second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Mr. DeLuca again for Historic Preservation
In his-
Commission.
In Historic Preservation, thank you. We have a reappointment of Carla LaBianca, and she's moving from alternate 2 to alternate 1, and it's a 2-year position. I'll move that.
I'll second that.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. So we have a public hearing. So Ms. Fritzen, who would be running this public hearing?
Weary.
Well,
Weird.
Deputy Mayor? Or
Mr. Weary.
we'll just do
Mhm.
Mr. Weary?
First,
Oh,
there will be a presentation as required by. the
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So I can start that off. So this is, the township will be applying for Green Acres funding. It's through the Department of Environmental Protection. We have gone through a public process to obtain input from the public that resulted in our final concept plan. That is what we'll be presenting tonight, and we'll have an opportunity for public input at the conclusion of it. So I'll share with you a slideshow. And play. Okay, so it's proposed the title of the park, it will be the Completely Inclusive Playground at Maple Crest Park. This is funded through the DEP Jake's Law Playground funding, and Jake's Law was a law that set standards for inclusive playgrounds in New Jersey. They have standards that are more rigorous and more inclusive than the ADA requires for similar playgrounds. And this is the first opportunity that municipalities in New Jersey has to apply for the funding. There are specific requirements, like I said, that were adopted. It has to have an accessible route from the parking lot, a unitary surface in the area surrounding the play equipment. So typically that is like a poured in place rubber, could be like a concrete in some areas, but it's a uniform surface, much different than wood chips you would see in a traditional park. And the idea is that it's easier for people, especially with mobility issues, but it could also be seniors or young people, makes it easier for them to traverse the parking area. If you have restroom facilities, at least one of the restrooms has to be a family or assisted use toilet room, and there needs to be shading on 20% of the surface area of the playground. The playground has to be fenced in. It can be a natural barrier like a hedge, but what we proposed is a full surround with like a metal aluminum, what you would typically see in a fencing. And it must include play components that have physical, sensory, cognitive, social, emotional, imaginative, and communication needs. And lastly, it has to have quiet play areas. So everything that is included in our concept plan and that we'll submit to the DEP has all of these required components. The grant funding, it's a 75% matching grant. The DEP anticipates awarding a grant between $500,000 and $750,000. So with a 25% match, we would be putting, if we were awarded at the maximum level, and they could go beyond that depending on how many applications they receive. If we put in a $750,000 grant, the total project would be $1 million. And we'll go into the exact cost of the project at the end of this. We had a public engagement forum last month. We had online surveys. We posted in quite a few places in social media, sent out our own email blasts, and we received comments, questions, and concerns via email and phone as well. If we are awarded a grant, we may have additional public forums to really finalize what's going to be in the final playground. We have a concept plan, which I'll go over now, but it's also available on our website for anyone looking to see that afterwards. So this is where the playground will be here in Maple Crest Park. At the bottom of the screen here is Springfield Avenue, and you can see the police department here, the square building right at the bottom. So this blue shaded area is where we have proposed the inclusive playground. It's a good location suitable for this type of a park because there's a walking path all the way from the parking lot on Springfield Avenue, and it is close to other parks, which continues to promote the inclusiveness of what we want to see in this playground. This is an aerial view, and what you see here that you may not typically see in some parks are the shade structures. Like I said, it's required to cover 20% of the surface area. And then you can see this as proposed, it's in green, but this unitary structure that is around it. In here, this slide, it has some tactile feature on it, a rumble slide. There are, over to the right here, you can see ramps that are easy to walk or use a wheelchair on. And as you go along those ramps, there are interactive areas with different activities, amenities. There are music zones. And so there's all different kinds of, drums and xylophones here. There are some shorter slides. There are some larger slides that you saw earlier in the back. And you can see again here, there are quiet play areas, such as the shaded area underneath the play structure. This is an area that could also be ideal for someone looking for more quiet play. These single eggs, designed for one person. Our director of community services said she's seen a couple kids in there play at a time. But if you had a desire, you could go in there by yourself and still enjoy your time at the park. That's kind of a little bit of a closer look at that egg. This is one of the swings that is proposed in the concept. Musical instrument proposed, drums proposed. So that is the concept plan. Another part of this hearing that we have to present is our environmental impact. So we have a 15-page environmental study that was performed by our engineering department and is available on our website that I'll go through kind of quickly. The environmental impact looks at what this park will do to all different types of environmental components that are currently present in the park. So they're looking at hydrology, freshwater, wetlands, soils, vegetation communities such as trees. They look at wildlife and existing land uses in the area. And so I'll work through some of them now, at least where they identified specific impacts and how we might mitigate those. So for the zoning and master plan, the use, and this is in an existing park, the existing use will not change, and it will not impact any setbacks or require any variances. The township's master plan adopted last year does prioritize improving municipal park space, so this will do that. When it comes to surface water, there will be minimal disturbances to the underlying formations as a result of mostly construction activity in the final playground surface. The project will be graded in such a way that stormwater runoff will be directed towards permeable areas that are suitable for infiltration. There are no wellheads in the site area, and the proposed project will not need any additional water services. There is already an existing sanitary connection to a public sewer that is at the restroom facility. For wetlands, hydrology, and surface water, we did a digital mapping of the area. There are freshwater wetlands in the park area, but not in the location that this project is proposed. And we will do additional field investigations to confirm the presence of wetlands on the site and to delineate those. There are no streams or other surface water features located on the site. For the vegetation communities, we do not propose displacing or removing any trees or shrubs. There are no apparent or threatened or endangered species that are prevalent at the site. And for air quality, there will be some impact to air quality during construction, but there is not expected to be any increase in air quality impact at the conclusion of the construction. Another thing that is impacted by construction but not expected to be impacted afterwards will be noise. The noise levels are not likely to change as a result of this project. And the project will be compliant with the requirements of the noise control regulations, and it will be conducted in compliance with the township's noise ordinance as well. And let's see, I think that is so in conclusion, for the environmental impact statement, there are some undesirable impacts that are unavoidable during and after construction. They include a permanent displacement of surface geological deposits, which is the soil that will be displaced for the creation of the park. Traffic conditions will be impacted temporarily during construction, but not after construction. There will be increased noise during construction, but not after construction. And during construction, there'll be some soil impacts to windblown dust, soil, and erosion, but none expected after. In summary, our engineer found that the proposed project will have minimal impact to the environment, and that given that this is a minimal impact and that the project will provide recreational spaces to the community, it is determined that this site is well suited for the project.
Thank you.
And last but not least, the project cost. So the total project in cost of the concept that we have now is $1,356,612, which makes our grant application $1,017,459. And we'll have a 25% match on top of that. Again, should the grant come back lower, we can revise the exact project scope.
Mr. Ware, we have funds already dedicated to this from the Open Space Trust Fund?
We do, yes. Funds that were earmarked for improvements in Maple Crest Park. Yes.
So, yeah. Any
That is this
questions?
presentation.
Thank you.
Any questions on the presentation? All right.
Solid.
Now into the public hearing. If any members of the public here Zoom would like to make a comment, have the opportunity now. Are there any members of the public here that would like to speak? Okay, then let's go to Zoom. All right, let me start sharing my screen. All right. If any members of the public on Zoom would like to speak in this public hearing, please raise your hand now. I see no hands.
Okay.
Mr. Ware, just so I can tell you one thing, when we were at an event up there on Sunday, I know I need a life. I counted the parking spaces in that lot. There's 24,
We're there, to be fair.
and one of those is designated for handicap parking. So you might want to jot that down. 24 and one designated for handicap.
And that was a comment that we received
Right.
both in the online survey that we had and in the public.
The public forum,
Right, so you might want to put that in the proposal, 24.
but only one.
In the lot now, there's 24. One of them is handicap, and we're going to be looking to make some alterations there.
Very good. And I think the last item would be moved to close the hearing.
Yes, I move to close the hearing.
Second.
Ms. Gripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you.
But I think, actually, if I could make a comment, I would like to thank not only Mr. Wary for the work and extra effort he put into making sure this stayed on task and on time, but also to our Superintendent of Public Works and Engineering, Paul Kittner, who went above and beyond on this, as well as Melissa Mancuso, our Community Services Director, because all of them together made this
Mhm.
come to be. And
Yeah.
it was done quickly and well done. So thank you all
Yeah,
for the
thank
effort you
for
put in
that.
a much needed playground.
Yep, thank you for that. Well-deserved and appreciated because it was a short timeline and I know we got
it done.
everything in. Just need one signature around 1 PM tomorrow and boom. All right, can we have a resolution approving Green Acres application for Maple Crest Park, completely inclusive playground? Can I get a motion?
Can we, I move that. So moved.
Second.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Gripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. Yay. Hopefully we get 750,000.
Right?
Million. We're looking for a million.
No, they're only 750.
We can hit.
Greedy.
Putting in for a
Greedy.
million though, right?
Yeah, we are putting in for a million.
Right. You never know, we might get lucky. All right.
ARP grant next.
At this point, I'd like to move into our Board of Health meeting and yield the direction of that meeting to Ms. Engel.
Thank you, Mayor. Pursuant to Section 5, Chapter 231, PL 1975, this is to state for the record that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public by posting and maintaining the annual notice of regular meetings on the bulletin board of the municipal building, by mailing the annual notice of regular meetings for 2024 to the News Record and Star Ledger in December 2023, and by filing said notice in the office of the Township Clerk.
Ms. Gripe,
Here.
Mr. Daffis,
Here.
DeLuca.
Here.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, I mean here, sorry.
Ms. Engel.
Here.
Here.
Whereas Chapter 231, Public Laws of 1975, commonly known as the Open Public Meetings Act, requires that all meetings of public bodies be open to the public. And whereas Section 7A provides that the Board of Health has the discretion to permit, prohibit, or regulate the active participation of the public at any meeting. And whereas desire the Maplewood Board of Health to comply with the provision of this act, same time to conduct its business in an orderly and expeditious manner. Now therefore be it resolved by the Maplewood Board of Health, Township of Maplewood, that it does hereby prohibit, except as set forth in the formal agenda, active participation in deliberations of the Board of Health by the public, and except as otherwise prescribed by law, does limit the public to the observations of the actions and discussions of the Board of Health meeting in all its regular and special meetings.
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Gripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Mayor Adams,
Yes,
Ms. Engel.
Yes. First, I move to approve the meeting minutes from the January 16th Board of Health meeting.
Second.
Ms. Gripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes. And now I will turn it over to our Health Officer, Candace Davenport.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
You need to be near the microphone so they hear you.
Specifically in, can you hear it works? Speaking specifically in Maplewood, you'll see that using the city health dashboard data that we were able to acquire, we can identify areas in Maplewood where residents have been told that they have high blood pressure or high cholesterol by their physician in the past year. So while we are scoring above the national average, as you can see here, we are still identifying pockets where we need to focus our attention. So this is also heart health data that we're also looking at here. And again, it shows kind of the same similar pattern as we saw before. Again, we're really studying how we can address certain areas in neighborhoods and persons so that they can get the screenings that would help them to alleviate heart disease. This is one resource that our staff had found. It's called the Live to the Beat campaign. It's a free online campaign that allows you to customize your health activities and encourages you and tells you, here's what you can do. And it reminds you every day with small living activities that you can do to help you out. So we encourage people to take advantage of that. It's a fun way to incorporate health into your life. While February is Heart Health Month, we still also have to address that stroke is a big part of our circulatory system, and people may not be aware of the stroke symptoms. So our Township Committee people have received a little card, which goes into what are the risk factors for stroke, but also how to react to them. So the acronym that we want to remember is Be Fast. It means to look for someone who might have a loss of balance, that there are vision changes, facial drooping, or a complaint of a severe headache, arm weakness or numbness, speech with trouble speaking, and confusion, and then time. Time is of the essence when you're talking about a stroke. When you think something's irregular, please contact 911. Even if it isn't a stroke, it's important for them to get seen right away if someone expresses those symptoms. We also have these cards that we can give to residents. So if they stop by at the health department on Valley Street in Town Hall, we have available information for them.
We'll be able to get some of those cards for the libraries?
We can order more.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to add that someone experiencing a stroke need not have every single one of those symptoms.
That's right.
I had 3 of those, so.
Right.
talk
And-
about that later.
Absolutely. And because, these are real issues that people are dealing with, we want to bring attention to it so people can recognize it. On that note, we are having a lunch and learn on February 20th. And at that senior lunch and learn, we will also be doing health screenings that includes blood pressure checks as well as diabetes and cholesterol blood checks through our public health nurse. And if they missed that on the 20th, we are also advertising that on February 27th. There's also a senior heart and health event as well that people can do. Moving on to animal control, we are now into dog and cat licensing, and applications are still open, but unfortunately, if you missed it, you have now a $7 late fee. We still encourage people to get their dog and cat license. Currently, we have about 500 dogs and over 70 cats. So we're like about halfway through. As for Bloomfield, their report for the month of January was that we only had 5 calls, so that's really great. Moving on to environmental health, while we failed to mention, we want to mention it now, January is National Radon Action Month. So people can go get tests at Home Depot and they can test their own home. However, if you can't afford to do that, we do have tests from the Essex Regional Health Commission that we can provide to people as well. So they can stop by and we can give those to them. One thing that people may not realize is that if you have a home with radon and you are a smoker, you increase your risk of lung cancer. So this is something that people don't realize. So testing your house is important, and this is another reason to stop smoking because it increases your risk quite a bit. January, we had 16 restaurant inspections, 35 complaints. Most of those were related to questions about lead screening for renters, but also garbage and nuisance complaints. Our inspectors did help the Essex East Orange Health Department, who does our lead inspections, to resolve a case in Maplewood, so related to childhood lead poisoning. So that is resolved, and everyone is being followed up, and that's great. Moving on to communicable and infectious diseases, we are in immunization audit season. So Anna has been very busy with 12 audits this month of our childcare centers and our schools. So needless to say, as you might have heard in the news, that we had a measles outbreak in Camden and some parts of Philadelphia. This is the reason why we do these immunization audits, to encourage that everyone is up to date with the required vaccinations for the state health department in childcare, as well as throughout the school. As for the COVID, we are in medium transmission level in Essex County. These are all information that you've seen before, but because the mayor had the great idea of sharing them through our weekly e-blasts, and our administration is able to do that, we are now sharing them for the public so they can digest it after the meeting. So one of the things that I also didn't mention was that we have a flu outbreak among early childhood centers and young children. So as you can see here, that kind of reflects the state data, which is that influenza transmission throughout the state is high. So we're still not out of the woods yet in terms of respiratory diseases. So we ask people to get their flu shot. It's still viable. Moving on to social services and mental health issues. As for Black History Month, thank you for that great proclamation, Deputy Mayor. We have a partnership with the Community Coalition on Race that on February 29th at 7 p.m. at the SOPAC Loft, they are showing a free screening of the PBS documentary, Birthing Justice. We hope that people will engage and attend this meeting, and hopefully will encourage people to be aware of what's going on and then advocate for better healthcare for Black women and their families and their growing families. It's an interesting connection because Community Coalition on Race is having an event at the Duran Head-In earlier this month, to talk about Black history and families. So we're looking at the back end of, like, look at your ancestry, and this one says, look at your future. So we really want to make sure that people come and are aware of this. That brings us to the universal home screening, home visiting. Just want to encourage people, regardless of your insurance, you are eligible to take part in this as long as you schedule an appointment within the first 2 weeks of your postpartum discharge. And it's a wonderful, wonderful program, again, going back to the importance of maternal child health. Interestingly enough, the state health department also funds certain organizations in every county, and this is the Essex Pregnancy and Parenting Connection. We are constantly finding new resources and making partnerships. So we want to encourage people to take advantage of all of their free services that they offer, from prenatal care to childhood immunizations to access to healthcare and early parenting guidance and support, which we all need. As for women's health, we are also offering mammography and cervical cancer screenings through the SAVE program. That's also another free program. And we are working to bring this mobile clinic to Maplewood to offer various services as well. Again, as we're finding more resources and more partners, they're kind of finding us as well. There's a new program from the ADA Foundation, which is called Give Kids a Smile. And for example, on February 2nd, they offered dentists in these areas in Newark, Montclair, West Orange, offered free dental screenings for children who can't afford a dentist. So we also hope to coordinate with a dentist in the area to be a part of this program. But if you'd like to schedule an appointment for your child, they can contact the health department for free bus tickets in case they need to get to a center for their appointment. Again, eliminating the transportation as a barrier to healthcare. As part of the mayor's wellness campaign, Mental Health First Aid provides this adult mental health first aid screening. And because we are a healthy town, up and coming, we want to advertise that they're having this adult mental health first aid screening this February 22nd. This is really for anyone, our township officials, anyone in leadership, aunts, uncles, parents, brothers, sisters, anyone who wants to talk about mental health and know how to relate to people, reduce the stigma of mental health, but really also to address and practice how to identify someone who may have suicidal ideations or might be experiencing suicide, and have that real experience of asking that question, are you thinking of killing yourself? It's a hard question to ask, but this program really helps you to get through that so that you're confident to address those issues. Likewise, we just want to promote that our partners at Oaks and Cope are offering a free virtual Zoom every Friday. These are sobriety community meetings, if anyone would like to attend for support. You may not have realized this, but in 2017, the state of New Jersey passed a legislation to reduce opioid prescriptions from 30 days to 5. What they found that if you, it takes 5 days or more to create opioid dependency. And so from 2017 on, they've been studying this, and new research from Morristown Hospital has said that it is reducing the incidence of new opioid cases that are caused by prescription drugs. So this is amazing stuff. This is what public health does. You don't see the effects until maybe years later, but we are seeing some really great results. So what does this mean? It means that there are less opioids out in the community for someone to take out of someone's, medicine cabinet. But it also means that by following data, we are reducing opioid dependency. So this is really great news. And again, please encourage people to go to Stop and Shop, to the pharmacy to get their free Narcan. Something that our staff brought up, which I thought was really interesting and I wanted to share. People think that Narcan is about drug addicts and people who are addicted to opioids, when in fact, anyone who's a caregiver of a senior citizen who is on pain medication should have Narcan in their home. Because all seniors may experience at some point confusion about how much medication they take, forgetfulness that maybe they took that 2 hours ago. And suddenly you have someone who's passed out in their home because they're overdosing on pain medication, such as an opioid. So anyone who is a healthcare provider or a home caregiver should have Narcan in their home if they're taking care of a senior citizen. Just want to reduce the stigma of the usage of Narcan, get it out there. If you don't know how to use Narcan, they have free trainings for how to use the nasal spray kits, and they're offered 6 times a month through Rutgers, and they're free. And also we have a safe disposal site at our police department lobby. You can throw away all of your expired and unused medications. And it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We always put this up here for people to see. And again, it's for the public to digest all the information. And thank you so much to all the residents who have utilized our service and also have donated. But our staff asked that at this time, we no longer can take shower chairs or commodes. We're kind of at capacity. But if anybody would like one, we have them. So we just had someone come in today for a cane to recover from a foot injury. And so it's really working. And the people always are very thankful to the township for offering this great service, because otherwise they might not be able to afford these equipment to recover. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Health Officer Davenport. Do any of my colleagues have any questions for our health officer?
No.
Great. We will open it up to the public. Mr. Wary, will you help facilitate public questions from the public for our health officer?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Ms. Engel.
Great, because it was such a fantastic presentation. Thank you so much. So our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 5th, and I move to adjourn our Board of Health meeting.
Ms. Gripe,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis,
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes, back to you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we'll go on to ordinances on final passage. Ms. Fritzen.
Hey, yes, Mayor. We're up to number 11 on our agenda. Ordinance on final passage, ordinance number 3112-24 is an ordinance to amend chapter 257 of the Code of the Township of Maplewood entitled Vehicles and Traffic with respect to parking on the south side of Milburn Avenue. This ordinance will revise parking regulations on the south side of Milburn Avenue between Valley Street and the Union border.
Okay, this ordinance has been published, copies posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, and copies made available to the general public in accordance with the law. Is there anyone who would like to speak or ask questions on this ordinance? Mr. Wary?
If any members of the public joining us on Zoom would like to speak in public portion, please raise your hand now. I see no hands, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. May I get a motion, Mr. DeLuca?
Mayor, I move the passage of this, I move this ordinance be adopted as a whole and the clerk be directed to publish the same as a passed ordinance in the Maplewood South Orange News Record according to law.
I'll second that.
Do it.
Roll call?
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes,
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. Introduction of new
Yes.
ordinance.
Yes, Mayor, that's item number 12, ordinance number 3113-24 is an ordinance to amend chapter 123 fees of the Township Code to establish the 2024 sewer user rate. This ordinance will revise the annual sewer user rate per dwelling unit.
I move the passage of this ordinance on first reading, its publication according to law in the Maplewood South Orange News Record, and a hearing to be held on February 20th.
I'll second it.
Ms. Kripe?
Yes.
Mr. Daffis?
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca?
Yes.
Ms. Engel?
Yes,
Mayor Adams?
Yes, thank you. We have no reports from departments, so we'll move to administrative reports. Mr. Wary.
Thank you, Mayor. One item, we have a resolution on the agenda tonight hiring a custodian, Jose Mercado. So we're excited to have him on board. He fills a vacancy that we've had for quite a while. So we're excited to have him. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, any questions for Mr.
I
Wary?
do have one. Mr. Weary, we were on the stage at the Woodland the other day for the Luna Fest, and I'm pretty sure that we put money in the capital budget to replace the curtain.
Okay.
Can you check that out? Because it was pretty,
I don't think we did.
no?
Previous year, do you mean?
Yeah.
No, we have never put money in the budget for that.
Well, okay, if you check it out, check out with, I know Ms. Mancuso asked for it. I don't remember if we did it or not, but
Find out and we can circulate what that would cost.
yeah, it's pretty raggy.
Old.
I have a few questions for our administrator and assistant administrator. Where are we with respect to our compliance with the lead remediation law?
We will be going out to RFP for a concession for a company that can perform that service. So the deadline for that is over the summer. We spoke with mostly one or mainly one company in New Jersey who's performing this service for municipalities. And so we had talked with them and they have confidence that if we go out to RFP now, award a contract, they can complete the required inspections by the deadline.
The deadline is in June.
That's right.
I'm just going to note that I think that this has been taking far too long.
Yeah.
And there are so many grants available through DCA to help whoever our third party contractor is gonna be
Right.
to do this work. Municipalities are ahead of us,
Yes.
and I have sent this information to the appropriate person here many times. Please prioritize this.
Sure.
And I think what led me to think about it is the lead complaints that you were talking about, Health Officer Davenport. you should loop into the lead remediation efforts?
Right now, the holdup is on me drafting that RFP. So it's a priority, but I will.
Yeah, the holdup is not you. The holdup was that, there was all this, like, we don't want to do this kind of thing. Okay, my next question, where are we with, so we heard from the community about restricting certain commercial vehicles from our streets and neighborhoods. And we were going to look into the DOT requirements. Any progress on that?
Follow up with the engineer and get you an answer.
Okay,
That'll be on our agenda for engineering, public works and planning.
terrific. And then lastly, we adopted a sanctuary resolution. Again, I want to applaud Deputy Mayor Kripe for that a few months back. And one of the requirements in our resolution, self-imposed, was updated cultural competency and sensitivity training for all of our employees. Is there an update in putting that together?
Yes, I believe Ms. Jones has an update.
Sure. So I did meet with members of the police department so that we could collaborate on to develop a training for our civilians, non-civilian, I'm sorry, our civilian staff. So I'm in the process of developing that collaborative effort where the police department will provide their input and then the administration will provide training from a civilian perspective as well.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
Thank
here
you.
we are.
That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions of the administration? Okay, thank you. We'll move to our township attorney, Ms. Creditia.
Thank you, Mayor. Just very brief remarks tonight. On behalf of the entire firm, thank you so much for acknowledging our beloved founder, Ed McManaman, this evening. He truly believed in a life lived in the public service, which I know all of you also emulate. And one of the last conversations I had with Ed was after my interview here on the way home. And
Oh,
we will all miss him dearly, but thank you so very much. It was very meaningful to us.
well, we're sorry for especially the firm's loss, for sure. Oh,
Thank you. No other items.
no other updates? Any questions for our legal counsel? All right. Township clerk.
Just one thing to report, Mayor, that since our last township committee meeting, we conducted 6 event planning meetings. A lot of stuff going on. And I have one scheduled for next week, which is the St. Patrick's Day 5K race. So we're all caught up on planning meetings, but I know it will not last that long. And that's all that I have. Thank you.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions for Ms. Fritzen? No? Okay. Well, we'll move on to reports from elected officials. Committee member DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. Ms. Kripe and I are the liaisons to Black History Month, and just want to remind you that we're celebrating it this month. This year, our theme is African Americans and the Arts, and both the township and many of our civic and community partners are offering a great span of activities. We had music and art and the spoken word on Sunday on Springfield Avenue, and so there's stuff happening. You can go to maplewood.artsandculture.org and you'll find everything on there of the various events. One event in particular I just want to mention is our new Assemblywoman Garnett Hall will be the featured speaker for Black History Month on Thursday, February 15th at 7:30 p.m. at the Hilton Neighborhood Association meeting. And Garnett will talk about her own journey from being an activist as a teenager in Montclair with Jesse Jackson, the Jesse Jackson campaign, to now being an Assemblywoman. So please come out. It's open to all. It'll be at the Community Center at DeHart Park. The Community Energy Plan is still being finalized. We were editing it yesterday, and we intend to have it to everyone, if not next meeting, probably not next meeting, but in March. And that will become the basis upon which we will make an application for implementation. And we hope to install heat pumps at the police station and at the greenhouse and be able to get hundreds of thousands of dollars in grant money for implementation. And lastly, I've been texting with Father Hot at the Ukrainian church, asking if they are going to be doing anything, remembrance service on February 24th. It's the 3rd anniversary of the start of the war.
Mm.
So they are doing something in their diocesan, I'm not exactly sure how that, what it's called, but it's sort of their region. And but he will talk about, he will get back to us if we're going to do anything locally. So I'll let everybody know. And that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. DeLuca?
When we hosted the 2nd anniversary, I remember saying to each other, hopefully we'll never have to have another anniversary. And here we are.
Okay, Deputy Mayor Craig.
Thank you, Mayor. As Mr. DeLuca stated, that we've had a full month so far already. The weekend was chock full of things, but I wanted to make note of the fact that we also had not only our Lunar Fest over at the Woodland, which celebrated our Asian American Pride and the wonderful activities and things that were planned there. So I'd like to thank the committee who put that together and for the community coming out. It was impossible to find a parking spot. That's how popular it was. So good on Maplewood for putting that together. Also on Saturday, we had the end of winter festival at DeHart Park in the community center. And there was ice skating and fire pits, music inside the building. They had a face painter. And one of the things they also had was Together We Bloom brought a sensory friendly room. And we got not only on social media, but in private messages, so many positive responses from people in the community, including folks that were just visiting and didn't realize they needed that space. And when they were able to, when they got overwhelmed, they were able to go inside and have some quiet time that they could use to regroup before they went back out and got involved in some more things. So I want to thank Melissa Mancuso and her team again. I mean, she's knocking it out of the park, Missy. You're getting it done. So I appreciate that. One last thing I want people to remember, February 26th to March 1st is Crossing Guard Appreciation Week. And I would like to stress, don't wait until the 26th to thank your crossing guard. If you go to the Township website, I've asked Mr. Wary if he could put that up there. There are downloadable thank you letters that you can print out and write for your own particular crossing guard. You can say thank you, you can buy them a gift, you high five them, whatever. There are a community resource that's actually a gift for us. They do so much to protect our kids and to keep our children's commute safe. And I want to thank Walk Bike Ride South Orange for making sure that that is happening every year. There'll be a special breakfast for all of our crossing guards on February 29th and at the Jesby House. So hopefully we'll be able to get folks there. And finally, continuing with our civic duty, we really still need more people to volunteer for our committees, in particular Rec Advisory. We would love it if we could go to the website, check out volunteer opportunities and find out where your sweet spot is. You might find that there is a committee or a subcommittee that could use your wisdom and your help. So please volunteer. And that is all, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, any questions for Deputy Mayor Craig? Nope. You're off.
Keep
Committee Member Daffis.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 items this evening. I will start with the Master Plan Implementation Working Group. We have a core group of 4, and we've met once already, and we're meeting again next week. The core group consists of myself as chair and 3 former members of the Master Plan Steering Committee, namely 2 planning board members with planning experience who led our process during the master plan process with the planning firm all last year, and our planning board chair. I'm pleased that our little core team is majority female, yay, intergenerational and diverse. As reported previously, we will bring in relevant stakeholders and other experts with each subject recommendation and loop in other intersecting committees or work product. We will be reporting regularly to the Committee on Entrepreneurship and Economic Development. And of course, I will be reporting back here as we make policy decisions officially to implement any of the recommendations. We are looking at prioritizing the following for now as a start, and it's a big start. These happen to be in the capital P plan, tippy top priorities, and we think that they also reflect recent public comment and concern. In land use and zoning, proposed revisions in zoning to include, among other things, ways to break up building bulk. For instance, required architectural features, i.e., for instance, explicitly requiring eaves, and revisions in density, in setbacks, and/or floor area ratio. Enacting targeted regulations to support historic preservation efforts, such as with, for instance, a demolition ordinance, which may apply to both residential and commercial construction. What percentage of removal of the building or home would qualify as a demo? If Historic Preservation Commission gets to opine on the construction, how much time will they get to review it? What would be their criteria or parameters of their review? How will the homeowner or owner of the building have their due process rights preserved? Would there be any exceptions to this? Will we be able to strike a thoughtful balance between preservation and commercial viability or economic development? These are the things we're looking at. And it so happens, these are the things that we're already engaged in exploring and further developing in Code Committee. So it made sense for us to dovetail on that existing work. In Township circulation and mobility, one of the top recommendations was to develop a new circulation element with a focus on bike and pedestrian mobility with a Vision Zero and Complete Streets approach. We in our budget workshop the other evening, we talked about going after grant funding for safe routes to school. We're having conversations already about updating our 2010 bikeway network. We're engaged in various traffic calming studies throughout town as our residents bring them to us. And we hear about safe and complete streets all the time in public comment. Again, this too makes a lot of sense to bring all of these different threads together into a circulation master plan. The question is going to be, can we use existing consultant NV5 for this, who are already addressing some of these issues for us? Or do we have to go out to bid for a planner, and what would be our related budget concerns? In economic development, there are several recommendations we are exploring as they relate to revising permitted uses in our business zones, including expanding the PRB, pedestrian retail business zone, and broadening the commercial industrial, also known as the CI zone, and the CLI, Special Light Industrial District, to encourage entrepreneurship and small business startups. And we're looking at establishing an administrative zoning review that is less burdensome on entrepreneurship in change of use applications from permitted use to permitted use. So all of that is coming, and a lot of that is already happening. We're already working on it. My second item is I want to take this opportunity this evening to unequivocally condemn the aggressive conduct that was displayed the other day at a rally in Maplewood Village. I condemn it, full stop. We are better than that. We have condemned this behavior before. We have called for peace and unity, and we have been working on that with various groups, local and international. We have gathered together all kinds, Jews, Arabs, and Muslims, together in public spaces and in private homes to share collective pain and indignation, to express solidarity, breaking bread together while bridging gaps in understanding and acceptance. I'm afraid a few extreme folks out there are drowning out the progress we are making in coming together. We remain engaged and committed to bridging peace and unity. And we're not interested in policing speech, but aggressive tactics some were using the other day should not be tolerated. In-your-face screaming, shouting at children, taking pictures of them, throwing things at people. This crosses the line. It's dangerous, and we condemn it, full stop. My third and last item relates to Heart Health Awareness Month. I want to take the opportunity to express my deep gratitude for the support I've received from folks near and far since my social media post a week ago about my heart condition, a mini stroke 2 weekends ago, and my upcoming surgery. As you heard from our health officer earlier tonight during the public health portion of the agenda, being screened for heart health is critical. It saves your life. And even I, who have been monitoring a congenital condition all of my life, was surprised by a mini stroke. It was alarming, it was scary, and it certainly made me pay attention. So please pay attention to your heart health. Be screened today. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Daffis. Any questions for Mr. Daffis? Okay.
I just want to thank Mr. Daffis for again opening up your personal stories to share with the community and the public near and far, because I think when people hear personal stories, it helps them. And so you've done that before about your life stories and you're doing it now. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I want to add that I've heard from so many people who have the same condition as I do, who are going into surgery or had the same surgery that I'm about to have. And that was the idea of the post, right? To connect us all to each other, to share information and experiences. So thank you for that.
Ms. Engel, you're up.
I have no report, but I just want to acknowledge that our residents are very engaged in many issues that are on our docket. So I thank all of our residents for all of the emails that I've been receiving about many issues. And I apologize for not being able to write everybody back immediately so far, but I will get to you. And I really appreciate your advocacy and everybody for sharing their opinions, because that's what makes democracy. It's nice to have those conversations. And on that note, I will remind everyone that the Board of School Estimate meeting is next Tuesday, February 13th on WebEx. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Engel. Any questions for committee member Engel?
Can we send somebody over to the Chef Jesse thing so we can get our share of gumbo since we're going to be?
Oh, I know. Seriously.
I'll eat for you.
Okay, thank you. It's
I'll-
Tuesday and I'm not going to be
He said
getting
he's
fresh.
going to eat it for
I'll
us.
eat on behalf of the township.
No, I want my cut.
5
I'll bring you a
helpings.
Tupperware.
5 helpings. Mr. DeLuca's going to be full. All right. Thank you. For my report, everybody covered everything, particularly the events that took place this past weekend. Again, a shout out and a gratitude nod to Ms. Mancuso and her staff and department for a very full weekend and for her attendance and I hope her daughter enjoyed herself because she was, I'm sure, made to come to a lot of these events. Also, I was also going to just make a comment because we are hearing from members of the community on both sides of the Middle East issue. And I agree with Mr. Daffis, and I won't go on too long because you said everything pretty much. Just, we work really hard at being respectful. We're being, asked by members of the community to stop the aggressive behavior of those on another side of an issue. And there's a peace rally, and then get some members of the community, both South Orange and Maplewood, and maybe beyond, who are aggressive in their tactics. There's little we can do because there's First Amendment right in this country that is extremely strong, as it should be. That doesn't mean we agree with their tactics or what they say or what they do, but we certainly cannot stop them unless they cross the line, in which case our police will get involved and they should be notified. And there has been some police action on some members of the extreme side who are making life a little uncomfortable for those who just want to do their right to public protest or rally. And so that said, we ask everyone in the community and those who know who they are, who are stirring the pot a little bit too much and not allowing people to disagree with them respectfully, we ask them to rethink their behavior and to be respectful of people on this very complex issue. So with that, anybody have any questions for me? You probably don't. Okay, so we have discussion items, and the first item is proposed 15% fare increase by our beloved New Jersey Transit. Mr. DeLuca.
Thank you, Mayor. As we've all heard, New Jersey Transit is proposing a 15% across the board increase starting on July 1st, 2024. They've identified a $119 million deficit, and they claim that they have come up with savings to reduce it, but savings of $44 million to reduce that. And they've also found another way to raise some other money, but the bulk of it will be covered by a system-wide fare adjustment, as they call it, of 15%, which would raise $107 million. For Maplewood commuters, the current monthly fare to and from New York would go from $227 a month to $261. That's an annual increase of $408, and it goes from $2,700 to $3,200. So it does add up. And, you know, as we sit here and we work very hard to keep our budget,
Right?
property tax down, you know, in one little quick thing, it gets lost by a fare increase. The one-way ride from here will go to almost $9, and that's $2.30 more a day. For a one-zone bus rider, and doesn't sound like much, it goes from $1.60 to $1.80. That's over $100 a day if you take the bus. And many of our neighbors in our urban areas who don't have the availability of an automobile, they live on the bus.
Yeah.
And these increases are really staggering when you're talking about people who have modest means, who are employed, don't make large salaries. In addition to the 15% increase, there's going to be a 3% increase every year on July 1st. For how many years, we don't know. They haven't identified that. There are public hearings across the state. Just little more background. The Regional Plan Association of New York and New Jersey noted that New Jersey Transit is the last public transportation carrier in the country that does not have a dedicated tax for funding. And in New Jersey, we have dedicated taxes. We have 23 dedicated taxes on the book. So we could easily have a dedicated tax, a transit tax, to cover these costs. We just lost $1 billion by getting the corporate business surcharge off the books on December 31st. Many people said we should have left it there to cover our needs. We have a budget deficit, and certainly it could have helped to cover this situation. So what I'm suggesting is that we pass a resolution tonight in opposition to the 15% increase, that we express our support to make sure that any increase is equitable, and that urban bus riders do not bear the brunt of this and are taken into consideration as special need for them, and that we do establish a dedicated tax for public transit in New Jersey. So that would be my resolution.
Yeah,
My motion.
I would agree with that. I also, the thought that they're just automatically going up 3% every year, like, it seems so arbitrary to me, not based on much.
Not to mention the fact that they've cut services, as well
Yeah.
as many of our locations are not accessible. So
Correct.
The fact that they're asking for all this extra money and not providing additional services is ridiculous.
Yeah,
The Seniors Advisory Committee is actually in the process of putting together our own letter
okay,
to send to Trenton as well as to New Jersey Transit opposing this.
good. Mr. DeLuca, does any of this address the capital projects that they are so far behind on?
No.
Such as
This is just
ADA?
operating.
Just
Just
operating.
operating.
Any other thoughts, comments, discussion, disgruntlement?
I agree with the resolution.
I agree as well.
Okay. Ms. Credidio, so do you want to?
Well, we have
You
to vote
made
on it, and I'll
comments.
work with you on putting together a resolution.
Great.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second really for Mr. DeLuca and then me, so.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca,
Yes.
Sengel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. The next item is movie theater redevelopment area. So we are, as everyone knows, we made this area, an area in need of redevelopment, non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment that was passed by the Township Committee and affirmed by the Planning Board. We do have 2 public meetings set up, and this will go out on our different, communications, text message and alerts, but also it will be up on our website. The dates for community meeting are February 29th and March 14th. And the time is still to be determined. There's a resolution on for my colleagues to approve for hiring our planner to facilitate those meetings for the community, to have input of basically what the community would like to see in this block of our beloved village for that incorporates the movie theater space. So we're calling this the movie theater redevelopment area because why not? And it describes what it is, so everybody's not confused, but it includes the Bank of America building and pretty much all the buildings on Maplewood Avenue to the corner of Inwood and to the corner of Woodland, with the exception of the Bergdorf building there. I don't know what's in there now. I can't think.
Real estate office.
Real estate.
So it was a long time ago, the Bergdorf real estate. So now it's still real estate. But anyway, that's not included in this, but the rest of the buildings on Maplewood Avenue, inclusive of the Bank of America building, are. So we're looking for input from the community as to what we want to see there. And we want Mr. Greigel to facilitate that SWOT analysis and get input from everybody. So I'll ask for everyone's support on the resolution to retain him to do so.
What was the second date? March what?
March 14th.
14th.
Yeah.
And the 29th is at the Woodland, right?
Yes. Yeah, we confirmed the Woodland. We're not confirmed on this March 14th space yet because it'll either be the Woodland or the Bergdorf.
Okay.
And then if we need a third community meeting, we will do so probably here.
Yeah, I shared the 29th at the Woodland with the MVA the other night during our board meeting.
Okay, good. Do we have a time? Is that going to be 6 o'clock, Mr. Wary, or 7? Or did we not figure that out yet?
We're discussing times.
Okay.
We'll let everybody, the TC as well as the public know when it's confirmed.
Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? From anybody? Okay. Undertaken natural resource inventory study in 2024, Mr. DeLuca.
Yes, thank you. So the Environmental Advisory Committee has made a recommendation to the Engineering, Public Works and Planning Committee that in 2024, we undertake a natural resources inventory. The last time we did this was in 2006, and it is consistent with the new master plan to just get a handle on our open space, everything from trees to recreation areas, historic assets. I mean, I was just listing since 2006 some of the things we've added: senior building, the Woodland, the gazebo, the skate park, the basketball court at D Hart, the rain gardens, composting program. We're talking about the inclusive playground. We have historic designation of this building, historic designation of Maplewood Village. So we have a lot of things that we've done that are not captured in the 2006 resource directory. So I think that the Public Works and Planning Committee, I'm reading something that says planning. The Engineering, Public Works and Planning Committee was favorable to moving this. Mr. Kittner's favorable to moving this. There is a grant program that's available. The proposals are due by noon on Friday. And what I'd like to do is get a resolution passed that would allow us to apply for this. And also, in addition to applying for it, have a conversation during one of our next budget meetings as to whether or not we can put it into the budget or not. And because I don't know if it's reimbursable or not, the grant. But in any event, we'll just have a sense of both two steps: one, to put the application in, and second, to talk about putting it in our capital budget. So I would make a motion that we apply to Sustainable Jersey for natural resources inventory grant.
Second.
I'll second it.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Yes,
Sengel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Anything? It's going for, yeah, you're on it. Great.
Thanks.
Next budget meeting dates, I actually only have one to toss out to everybody that I think we have consensus on February 27th. Just if the public is keeping score, that's pretty much the week that we're not supposed to do anything. We have meetings every night.
Right.
It's the only one we're free.
I have a lot of meetings that fourth week.
Yeah,
February 27th.
so at February 27th at 6 PM in this room will be our next budget workshop. I think the last one, we got a lot covered of the big chunk of the departments. Mr. Wary, can you inform us which departments will be on that meeting?
I'll tell you who we have left.
Yeah,
Court, health, community development, finance, public safety, special improvement districts, the directly funded community groups, and OSTF.
okay.
We'll do all those.
Yes.
Yeah, we
I mean,
should.
they're short.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you alert the SIDS that they need to be here for the 27th?
Yes.
Because they
I'll
probably,
let the MBA know.
First. They're gonna be long.
and then, I believe you need to coordinate with the Director of Community Development, may have a conflict, so maybe she's going to be at the end of that meeting or
We'll work out all.
first thing in the beginning, something. Okay, great. And she may have to be remote, but sure. Okay. That moves us to the consent agenda. I believe we have a couple of resolutions we would like to pull out.
Yes, Mayor, I would like to pull out Resolution 17-0, Resolution number 6324. This is a resolution for USA Architects. And I'd like to pull out 17-AF, or
8124.
that's 8124. This is the corrective action plan. And then with those two out of the consent agenda, I would move the consent agenda.
Second.
Ms. Fritzen?
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And to
Mm,
those
Okay,
two
Mayor,
resolutions?
yes, on Resolution 63-24, this is a award of a non-fair and open-ended professional services contract to USA Architects. I'd like to amend that to up to 50,000 to up to 25,000.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay, Ms. Fritzen, call the roll.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank
And
you.
do we need to move it Ms. Cordelia, do we need to move it as an amended resolution? So I move the amended Resolution 6324, which reflects up to 25,000.
Second.
I thought that's what we just voted on, but okay.
Do the amendment.
Voted on the amendment.
Got it.
Main motion.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And
And on Resolution 81-24, I'd like to table that.
yes, I'll second that.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. And now we come to our last public comment on any subject matter. Mr. Wary, is there anyone on Zoom?
If any members of the public would like to speak in public comment, please raise your hand now.
Do we have members of the public? Can you see?
We do, yes. We have 7.
All right.
Included that TV. There are no members of the public on Zoom who have raised their hands, ma'am.
Okay, and with that, I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Ms. Wright,
Yes.
Mr. Daffis.
Yes.
Mr. DeLuca.
Yes.
Ms. Engel.
Yes.
Mayor Adams.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you on February 20th, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do my math.
Time.
Thank you, everyone.